Are a bunch of athletes' seasons over? Maybe not. So I was thinking about making a video about who made semifinals after quarterfinals ended. Like after the leaderboard was finalized, doing it either Monday night or Tuesday. I didn't have time to do it then. And then all of these penalties came down. And everyone has been talking about it and covering it, and it's still evolving. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. And now I'm putting out this video, and if you're watching this video like 2 or 3 days after it's released, everything I say might not be true anymore because things are changing very quickly. But I think some of it will remain true. So we're gonna start with mostly the overarching themes of this whole video and what is happening right now. So CrossFit is taking a more thorough look at a lot of these athletes' videos for especially workout one. And we are seeing a lot of athletes be penalized. A lot of big names, a lot of them. Like tia-clair Toomey is no longer the winner of quarterfinals, and she's won quarterfinals every single time she's done it on the worldwide leaderboard. She is not the worldwide leader anymore because of this penalty. Patrick Vellner, who is one of the best movers in the space, received a penalty. And the main thing I want to say is CrossFit can do whatever they want. That's the truth. This is not a democracy. Competing in CrossFit, paying CrossFit, doing these competitions, this is a dictatorship. The people at CrossFit, they get to make the decisions, and we just have to play within the system. And that's it. And that's true for all of the athletes. That's true for me who did quarterfinals and any of all of you who have done quarterfinals or the open. We don't really have a lot of choices. We don't have a lot of say. They can make the decisions. They can invalidate whatever they want. There is no higher power. There is no one to go to and be like, hey, I don't like what they did. It's them. So we can't change their decisions. And you should know that signing up. So that's too bad. That being said, I don't want to see some of the athletes who have been knocked out of contention be knocked out. Like I mentioned Tia, I mentioned Pat. Neither of them right now, as of when I'm recording this, are out of a semifinals position. But we have someone like Paige Powers. She's no longer qualifying for semifinals. Sydney Wells, Kelsey Keels. There's a bunch of names of people, some people that I was going to talk about, like Kelsey, who has been a team athlete and is making a run as an individual. Excited to see her there doing that. Yeah, that she's not in that position right now. But like I said to start out this video, nothing is finalized yet. When I am recording this, when this should be released, nothing is finalized. The leaderboard is not finalized. So people that you see below the cut line, it doesn't mean they're actually below the cut line yet. Things are still shifting and changing. Some people have had all their scores validated. Others have not. Some people are appealing. So no one's season is over right this second. It may feel like it's over, but it isn't officially over yet. Also, CrossFit usually takes a week to validate all the things, meaning Monday, the 29th, is when everybody should have their results, theoretically. But again, like I said, CrossFit can do whatever they want. It's at their discretion. So if they decide we want extra days to validate videos, which in my opinion at this point, they probably need, then they can do that. They set the deadlines. They can move the deadlines. That's the truth. So I personally do hope they take a couple more days. Why is that? Well, one, they put up this on their Instagram. It says, individual semifinals hopefuls, please check your email for the final quarterfinals video submission deadline instructions. Thank you, the CrossFit Games team. This was released on Saturday. So, knowing that it was only released on Saturday and these people had a deadline to get these videos in by, and that human errors occur, either human errors on the part of the athletes submitting or on the people watching the videos, I think they should take their time and get this right. I know it sucks that some of these athletes may have to wait a couple extra days to know if they're going to semifinals. wouldn't you rather have them do their due diligence than rush it? So I'm hoping they do extend this and really look at things, because we have seen some people knock down quite a bit. And an argument I've heard, and an argument I sort of agree with, is that if you're going to knock someone down who was sitting in a top 10 position and now they're in 600th, 1000th in that workout, you kind of have to look at all the videos of the people in between them. Because now all these people who submitted scores who may have missubmitted their score, may not have a video, may not have even done the workout and just put in a score. That's also possible. You have to look at those people too. Is CrossFit gonna do that? Look at thousands of more videos? It's unlikely and it would be difficult. But arguably you should, because now all of a sudden these people who really have no chance of making it to semis are now impacting athletes who could go to semis. So that's what complicates things too. If you're gonna give people these significant penalties, and this year they upped the percentage of penalty they could give. In previous years, the significant major penalty was just like 15, 20% of the score. Now it can go up to 40% of the score. So it's really bringing more athletes that aren't really relevant into the mix. And it could ruin some seasons. It likely will ruin some seasons. And there's lots of arguments for why maybe this shouldn't be happening. Maybe step-ups are not a workout movement you program in quarterfinals. Arguably, I think that's fair. Step-ups are a hard one to judge, making sure people are stepped all the way up, fully upright when they're trying to move as fast as humanly possible. When they are trying to compete, it's hard to even see it in real time. It's hard to know for sure if they hit that full extension for a fraction of a second to count the rep. And then when these people are watching back the videos, they may be slowing it down. And then you see things that you may not have saw in real time. You can't change that in real time. So even though a lot of these athletes that are getting dinged had official judges, CrossFit Games level judges, they are still having these issues because now people are going back and watching these videos, slowing it down, zooming in, doing things you couldn't do in person. Also, what they can't do when they review these videos is move around the athlete and maybe see that the angle of that video might not be ideal. And from another angle, things look fine. And the judge had that angle, but the video doesn't have the angle. Also, the judge in the video can't really have the exact same angle, because then the judge would be standing in front of the lens. So that the judge has a different angle than what the video is seeing. So it just throws a bunch of things off, and the video reviews allow people to look at things that you would not see in real time and be more nitpicky, be more critical, and maybe end some people's seasons. It will end some people's seasons. My point is, right this second when I'm recording this, right this second if you're watching it shortly after it's uploaded, no one's seasons are actually over unless they've taken themselves out of contention for one reason or another. And let me just say here and point out, I do not blame any of these judges. I think some of these judges that have received the penalties, or the athletes they judged have received penalties, these are fantastic judges. These are judges with lots of experience. These are judges who, if they judge the workout the same way in a real competition, likely would not be getting this backlash. That's the truth. And Carson wants to play. And that's just the reality of the situation, is that when we have these video reviews, when we have these things not in person, it opens up a can of worms. It opens up opportunities to look at things in a different way, and it is possibly hurting athletes. Now, should we get rid of online competitions altogether? I don't think so. I think the Open is one of the things that makes CrossFit very special. Eliminating the Open would be disappointing for me and would really change the dynamic that we have in the CrossFit community. Let's not do that. Changing quarterfinals? Maybe. Or just not using movements that are as likely to receive as many penalties. Take a burpee. We don't see regular burpees in the open or quarterfinals. Nobody is doing just a normal put yourself on the floor, jump up burpee. We don't see those because we would have so many issues with the same thing. People not getting full extension at the top. So we just eliminated that. We do burpees over things, burpees over the bar, burpees over the box. And that has minimized the penalties we see on those movements significantly. So if these box step-ups were instead box overs, it would change everything. It would also change the workout. It would have changed the number of reps people would have been able to accomplish. So maybe you had to look at the whole movement differently. Maybe you would switch out the weighted box step-up for just a box jump over, so then the scores would be more similar. I don't know. But more of my point is there's an issue with the movement as well, in my opinion. Just because when people are doing it fatigued and also in a competitive setting, it is so easy to shorten the range of motion on that movement. And I do want to see CrossFit looking at everything very closely and upholding standards, but all of a sudden upholding standards to a different degree, it is having some big impacts, and maybe the athletes should have been made aware that these standards would be upheld to a higher degree than they have in the past, because we are seeing more penalties than we have in past quarterfinals. Maybe they should have been made aware of this before they even did the workouts. That way it's like, hey, we've told you, we are going to scrutinize these workouts more significantly than we have in the years past. Do with that what you may. And I feel like there'd be a little bit less complaints. Another thing I've heard talked about a whole lot is maybe this brings up the idea that there needs to be multiple ways to qualify for the CrossFit Games. The big one is bringing back something like sanctionals. And I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that could be a good thing. It makes a lot of these events that people are already excited about, maybe more exciting. Wodapalooza, making that a sanctional again. Then people, Wodapalooza is the wrong time of the year, but you'd have to move competitions or pick competitions that happen at the right time, especially having competitions that are between quarterfinals and the games. That way, if somebody's season's messed up from quarterfinals for one reason or another, think of someone like Annika Greer a few years ago when she didn't get her video submission in time or her score in time, there would have been another option. There would be a way to pivot. There would be a way to not have your season be over if it does happen to be over. So maybe there's an argument here for bringing back more ways to get to the championship beyond just this one. But I do think, like, if we did do that, there'd be much fewer sanctional positions than there would be positions through the CrossFit Games traditional season, quarterfinals, semifinals. So it would be a smaller window, a smaller opportunity, but you wouldn't be done because of something like this. You would have a small chance of making it back. So I do agree that maybe bringing back sanctionals or something similar to that could be a good way, that if CrossFit is going to be more nitpicky about this stuff, and if video reviews are going to become more uncertain, creating more anxiety, creating more ends of seasons, there would be another way to have your season continue. If you have a thought on all of this, leave it in the comments below. I know there are lots of thoughts about this right now, and also plenty of other videos on this. So I don't even know if anyone's gonna watch this one, but maybe they did. If you're here, you watched it, I appreciate you for doing that. Like this video too, subscribe, more CrossFit content to come, some of my training and stuff, just as like a more normal, average, or slightly above average. People get upset when I call myself average. A slightly above average athlete, a quarterfinals athlete who is never going to semis. I didn't even do well enough in semis to be impacting these significantly penalized athletes. So more closer to average athlete. You can see some of my training. I have that coming up. More talks about the CrossFit season. Make sure you subscribe. I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.